Okay, so we'll be discussing about shear strength of soil, wherein the basic principle of computing for the shear strength of soil is uh, a component of material fails because of both normal and shear stress combined, and not from either maximum or minimum shear stress alone or normal stress. So, meaning to say, kung uh, hindi lang normal stress sa magiging failure ng magiging reason ng failure ng soil, meaning to say, yung shear stress natin is a function of the normal stress. So, ang principle lang naman yan is yung failure would be caused by a specific normal and shear stress. So, combination na yun siya. Next natin. So, dito natin papakita ngayon kung ano ba yung magiging relationship between shear stress and normal stress. So, assuming na yung y-axis natin is yung shear stress and yung normal stress natin ay x-axis. Wherein for specific value for failure, meron tayong corresponding shear stress of failure and meron tayong corresponding normal stress. Now, given na meron tayong combination, dapat meron tayong mga series of points along these planes. So, denote natin na let's say points A, B, and C. Ngayon, before natin i-determine kung ano yung relationship between these 3 points, kailangan muna natin tingnan kung nasan ba yung magiging area for determining yung failure. Ngayon, to determine yung failure area, meron tayong kailangan tingnan. So, kapag nagkaroon ng failure dun sa soil natin, meron siyang nade-develop ngayon na tinatawag natin na failure envelope. Yung failure envelope na yan is a curve with a series of points underlying yung series of tests na ginawa mo doon sa soil para ma-determine mo kung ano ba yung corresponding shear and normal stress na mag-occur para doon sa failure ng soil. Ngayon, since series of points yan, kailangan at some instance, gagawin mo siyang linear para makita mo yung direct relationship between shear stress and normal stress. So, what we would do now is to create a straight line na yan ngayon yung magiging failure criteria. Kumbaga, yung curve na gawa ng failure envelope would just be converted into a linear relationship para masabi natin or mabilis natin ma-determine kung ano ba yung mga corresponding values for a specific combination for normal and shear stress. Since yung slope yung magiging common denominator nila. So, let's say na meron tayong tatlong points now. Sa point A, B, and C, ano ba yung magiging impact kung wala pa doon sa failure envelope? Kung wala pa sa failure envelope, kung yung point A natin, meron siyang combination din ng normal and shear stress. Wherein, let's say this is sigma 1, this is tau 1. Ngayon, yung point A, ibig sabihin, wala pang failure na nag-occur dyan. So, no failure. And then, kapag wala ka sa bounds ng failure criteria, or nasa ibaba ka ng failure criteria, ibig sabihin, wala pang nag-occur na failure dyan. Ngayon sa point B, kung ang titingnan mo ay yung point na to, nagpo-fall siya under the failure criteria mismo. So, nasagi niya yung failure criteria, meaning to say, sa point B, nandyan ngayon yung combination. Andyan ngayon yung combination of both normal and shear stress para mag-occur yung failure na kinoconsider natin since nandoon siya sa mismong failure criteria. So at point C, since lumagpas na siya doon sa failure criteria, ang denomination na nito is kapag nasa taas ka ng failure criteria, yung material mo is already destroyed or failed. So, ang concept is, for every combination ng normal and shear stress, meron kang, let's say, ayan, mga series of points ka na nandito na sa failure criteria. So, anything that lies between the failure or within the failure criteria, meron ng corresponding values for both normal and shear stress na yan. Okay, so next slide. Ngayon, bukod doon sa discussion between failure criteria, dito natin ngayon titingnan kung ano ba yung mga elements pa bukod doon sa normal and shear stress. So bukod sa normal and shear stress, meron tayong kino-consider na increase in y-intercept wherein this is denoted as cohesion. Ano ba yung cohesion? Yung cohesion ngayon, yung kino-consider natin as the shear resistance doon sa sa soil. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, ang cohesion, nag-change siya or nag-vary siya sa y-axis instead to sa x-axis because yung y-axis natin would denote shear. So yung cohesion is y-intercept or yung increase in shear para ma-resist ng soil at some point yung failure. So ano ba yung pwedeng i-denote nito? Kung walang cohesion, or pwede natin sabihin na cohesionless yung soil, ano muna ba yung mga cohesionless soil? Yung cohesionless soil, ano niya is walang shear resistance, meaning to say yung particles niya ay hindi nag-interlock. So, at some point, yung cohesionless, pwede natin sabihin, at some point, may special properties ang sand na maging cohesionless. So, kapag cohesionless yung sand, therefore, yung C natin would be equal to 0 or yung C prime. Kaya C prime siya kasi ang kino-consider natin kung C prime yan or C prime, ang tinitingnan natin dito ay effective stress. So, sa last time na lesson natin, kapag sigma prime, di ba, effective stress yan. So, dapat ito ay effective stress din. So, kapag effective stress, yung prime, ibig sabihin, inaalis natin yung effect ng water. So, yan ay yung total stress minus yung neutral stress or yung pore water pressure. Now, kung meron tayong ganitong klaseng setup, ano yung pwede natin sabihin? So, dito, pwede natin i-consider na yung shear stress is may combination din dun sa cohesion. Diba? This is C prime. Tapos yung buong yan ay shear stress at failure. Or OF. Ngayon, kung titingnan natin yung figure, may mabubuo tayo. Let's say, dinederive na natin now yung equation for shear stress, normal stress, and cohesion. So kung mapapansin nyo, dito, may mabubuo tayong trapezoid and pwede natin paghiwalayin yan into a triangle and a rectangle. So given na yung cohesion is present at a specific value, meron tayong pwedeng mabuo. So before natin buuin yan, ano muna ba yung magiging angle nitong triangle natin? Magiging angle na yan ay tinatawag natin phi prime or yung angle of internal friction. So, dyan sa angle of internal friction, ang pwede naman natin, may pwede tayong mahanap ngayon dyan. Kung yung buong height na to is shear stress, ano naman ngayon yung magiging distance na to? Yung magiging distance na to now would be equal to the effective stress. So, ano yung pwede nating makuha ngayon dyan? Pwede natin makuha ngayon dyan is meron tayong term para sa cohesion, meron tayong length para sa cohesion. Ito namang height na to, pwede rin nating makuha. So yung height na to, or yung sinasabi natin h, yung h na yan would be equal to ano? So following the principle of trigonometry, meron tayong base na equal to sigma prime or effective stress natin. And then, yung angle of internal friction natin, pwede natin sabihin na this is phi prime, sigma prime cosine phi prime. Or sorry, not cosine. Sigma prime tangent, tangent phi prime. Tangent because yung adjacent side yung consider natin and then hindi natin alam yung hypotenuse. So sigma prime tangent phi prime. So what does this entail? Pwede nating sabihin na yung shear stress at failure is equal to cohesion plus sigma prime tangent phi prime. Ngayon, what if cohesionless ngayon yung soil natin? Kung cohesionless yung soil natin, pwede nating sabihin na if cohesion is equal to 0, shear stress at failure now is equal to sigma prime tangent phi prime. So, yung mga base equations natin ay ito. Yan. So, ngayon, kung titingnan din natin, if everything is graphical, pwede tayo makapag-derive ngayon ng mga pupwedeng gawin in terms of the series of tests na pwedeng gawin doon sa soil. So may dalawang types of tests na ginagamit doon sa pag-determine ng mga shear parameters. So ngayon, kung meron tayong lab sample, meron tayong dalawang klaseng stresses na nag-a-act doon sa soil natin in order to generate failure. So, ang ano natin is meron tayong kino-consider na minor principal stress and yung major principal stress. Ngayon, ang principle dito is yung major principal stress would always be greater than the minor principal stress. Given then at some point na kung magkakaroon ng failure, ito ngayon yung kino-consider natin na angle theta or yung tinatawag natin na angle of failure or yung failure. And then, yung line na mapoproject ng angle of failure would be the failure plane. Now, dito sa specific na figure na to, wala yung angle of internal friction because yung angle of internal friction would only be present doon sa soil natin. So, paano ba natin ipaproject ngayon sa Mohr circle itong mga elements dito? So, for the elements, yung minor principal stress would be doon sa first point natin. So, sigma 3. Tapos yung major principal stress nandoon sa isang end ng circle na sigma 1. But first, turo ko muna kung paano magdo-drawing ngayon ng Mohr circle. So kapag Mohr circle ang pag-uusapan, if your problem would be cohesionless, ang pag-drawing ng Mohr circle is first yung, siyempre, yung x and y axis mo. Tapos, kapag cohesionless yan, magsisimula ka doon sa origin, and then sa series of 2 points, yung minor principal stress na sigma 3 and yung major principal stress na sigma 1. So after that, gagawa ka ng semicircle na dapat tatama doon sa failure envelope mo. And then, ipoproject mo yung center. Yung center na yan. So, doon sa center, ipoproject mo mula doon sa tangent line papunta doon sa center. Yan na ngayon yung Mohr circle mo. This is for cohesionless. Ngayon, kung may cohesion, ang first mong gagawin is yung vertex mo para doon sa failure envelope ay hindi magsisimula doon sa origin. But, magkakaroon ka ng onting usog or phase shift na tinatawag natin para doon sa failure envelope mo. So, set ka sa failure envelope and then yung y-axis, ay yung x-axis, sorry. And then turn to y-axis. Ngayon, then plot the points na yung minor principal stress and yung major principal stress ay nasa magkabilang gilid. And then form a tangent doon sa failure envelope. Saka mo ngayon i-plot yung radius or yung circumference ng circle according doon sa radius mo. So from sigma 3 to sigma 1. So now, aside from that, iproproject mo ngayon yung center. And then yung radius would follow yung tangent point doon sa failure envelope and doon sa center. So meron na tayo radius r. So meaning to say, yung distance between the major principal stress and minor principal stress would also be equal to the radius. Diba? Now, kung na-plot na natin itong series of points na to, meron pa tayong dapat i-determine. Itong value na to sa y-axis, mula sa origin hanggang doon sa point of intersection between the failure envelope and the y-axis, yan ngayon yung kino-consider natin as cohesion. Now, bukod dyan sa cohesion, meron pa tayong pwedeng i-reflect. Yung pwede mong i-reflect this time is, sige, so, ano natin. So far, kung magpa-plot lang ng Mohr circle, ito muna yung gagawin natin. So, next natin, na slide is, yeah. So, paano natin ngayon i-derive yung figure na to? So, assuming na na-project natin na earlier, now, dito sa drawing natin, meron tayong formulation ulit Mohr circle. So, paano ulit ma-formulate? Una muna yung x and y axis. After nyan, yung failure envelope. If may cohesion, pero kung cohesionless yan, sa origin ulit tayo magsa-start. Tapos kapag may cohesion na, so a little shift doon sa left side ng x-axis. So, ano tayo dyan? Yeah. After nyan, ipoproject ulit natin yung minor principal stress, so sigma 3. Kung effective yung kukunin natin, lalagay natin ang prime. So sigma 1 prime and sigma 3 prime. At the same time, kung convenient, ipoproject mo na ngayon din yung center. So from the center, yung sigma 3 and sigma 1, drawing ka ngayon ng arc and then form a point of tangency between failure envelope and the circle. Tapos saka mo ngayon ipoproject mula doon sa point of tangency hanggang sa center yung tinatawag nating radius. So yung angle of failure earlier, pwede nating i-plot yun dito sa Mohr circle by denoting that that is 2 theta. Now, bukod doon sa 2 theta, yung cohesion earlier din na pinlat natin ay this one. Yung distance between the failure envelope and the point of origin. Now, meron din tayong angle of internal friction na kino-consider para at some point alam natin kung ano yung pwedeng reference angle. Now, yung point of tangency earlier na sinasabi natin kanina na whichever is plotted at the failure envelope, pwede nating sabihin na it is a combination of normal and shear stress. Meaning to say, x and y axis siya ng normal stress and shear stress at failure. Ngayon, since meron tayong combination of normal and shear stress, masasabi natin na hindi naman yung yung major principal stress and minor principal stress yung nag-occur ng failure, but a combination of both normal and shear. Meaning to say, ito yung shear stress at failure at this rate, and at this rate naman yung normal stress at failure. Papansin mo, higit na mas malaki kay minor principal stress but less than the major principal stress because it is a combination of both normal and shear. Ngayon, kung mapapansin nyo, may mapoproject tayo this point. So, upon projection ng vertical line, papansin natin na itong angle of internal friction can also be transferred here. Pwede natin sabihin that is angle of internal friction because, kung point of tangency yung nasa failure envelope and then papunta doon sa center ng circle, we can assume that this is perpendicular. Yung radius and yung failure envelope is perpendicular with each other. So therefore, yung magiging angle nitong triangle na to is equal to the angle of internal friction or phi prime. Ngayon, kung halimbawa na pwede nating i-derive lahat ng terms na to, paano ngayon? Okay. So, ang gagawin natin now is i-form natin yung figure na kailangan natin para mag-derive ng Mohr circle. Kasi pwede natin i-simplify lahat to. So, kung isi-simplify natin lahat yan, ang pwede natin gawin is to project lahat ng possible figures na pwede natin buuin. So, kung ito ang titingnan natin, yeah. So, itong figure na to, yung triangle, kahit yan lang, ang pwede natin gamitin, madali na natin ma-derive lahat ng pwede natin kuhanin dito sa Mohr circle. Ngayon, yung triangle can also be projected with a series of figures. Let's say yung rectangle na to is yung figure 1. Yung triangle na nandito is figure 2. And yung triangle na taas is figure 3. Ngayon dito, sige, let's say this is figure 4. Ngayon, may 4 na series of figures ka. Now, paano natin i-derive lahat yan? Let's say, ang ano natin ay may given tayo. Ang given natin, let's say, ay sigma prime 1, sigma prime 3, cohesion. Yeah. So, at this point, meron tayong pwedeng ma-determine. Pwede nating sabihin, or pwede agad tayong ma-determine dyan. Alam natin na yung radius is distance from the center hanggang doon sa edge ng circle, di ba? So, pwede nating sabihin na yung from sigma 1 to center or yung sigma prime 3 to center, pwede nating sabihin na that is also equal to the radius. Di ba? So, radius yan. At the same time, yung nandun sa baba, radius din. So, dalawang radius yan. Pwede nating sabihin ngayon na yung distance from sigma 1 and distance ay up to sigma 3 is yung diameter of the circle. Meaning to say, sigma 1 minus sigma 3 is equal to diameter. Therefore, yung radius natin can be equal to sigma 1 minus sigma 3 all over 2. Ngayon, after determining yung value ng radius, meron na tayo po pwedeng kuhanin. So from the radius, meron tayong pwedeng i-consider for the shear stress at failure. So, to solve for the shear stress at failure, ano yung po pwede nating figure na i-refer? Pwede tayo mag-refer doon sa figure 2. So, sa figure 2, meron tayong triangle dyan na alam natin yung radius, and then itong nandito sa baba, hindi pa natin alam. Let's say this is equal to base na B. Tapos, assuming na meron tayong angle of internal friction, pwede nating sabihin na yung radius natin or yung yan natin. Try natin ulit. So, doon sa figure 2, meron tayong radius R, and then meron tayong base B. Tapos, ano yung magiging height niya? Yung height ng triangle natin is equal to the shear stress at failure. Diba? So, for this shear stress at failure, meron tayong ina-assume na angle of internal friction. Pero paano ba natin makukuha yung angle of internal friction at this point? So, kapag ganitong case, given yung angle of internal friction. At angle of internal friction, pwede natin sabihin dito sa figure na to na yung shear stress at failure can be equal to, yung R can be assumed as the hypotenuse, di ba? So, opposite side yung B ng phi prime, and then adjacent side yung shear stress at failure. So therefore, yung shear stress at failure natin can be equal to R cosine phi prime. So pwede natin agad makuha yung shear stress at failure. Next. Ang goal natin dito is makita natin yung shear stress at failure saka yung normal stress. So, saan tayo titingin ngayon na figure para makuha yung normal stress? Yung normal stress daw is greater than sigma prime 3 but less than the center. So, paano natin siya hahanapin? Pwede nating mahanap yung normal stress through through considering that meron tayong dalawang set of figures pa na present. So, kung titingnan natin, ano ba yung pwedeng gamitin dyan? So, alam natin na yung shear stress is equal to the cohesion plus yung normal stress multiplied by saan natin titingnan yun? So, pwede natin tingnan na from figure 1 and 3, yung shear stress at failure, so alam din natin na this projected angle is equal to phi prime. So, meron tayong height h para doon sa unang triangle. And then, cohesion pa rin yung dito sa ibaba. Pwede nating sabihin na from figure 1 and 3, yung shear stress at failure can be equal to cohesion plus yung normal stress ngayon, since yan yung edge nung rectangle natin, that can also be equal to the base of the triangle at figure 3. Pwede nating sabihin na C prime plus normal stress times tangent C prime. So, may nakuha tayong equation kanina. 1, pwede natin sabihin na this is equation 2. So, pwede natin ngayong i-consider na R cosine phi prime is equal to the cohesion plus prime tangent phi prime. Ngayon, kung meron tayong ganitong equation, paano natin i-derive by this time yung magiging value nitong normal stress? Yung normal stress, madali lang din natin makukuha kung meron na tayong value ng H. Diba? Yung H natin can be equal to the shear stress at failure minus cohesion lang yan. Diba? Ang cohesion natin, ang value ng H natin is yung sigma prime tangent phi prime. So, at this point, madali na din natin makukuha yung normal stress. Paano natin makukuha yung normal stress? Papansin nyo na yung H ay opposite doon sa doon sa angle of failure natin. So, angle of internal friction rather. Ngayon, kung opposite siya doon sa angle of internal friction, meron tayong pwedeng makuha dyan. Ngayon, ang pwede nating i-consider with this part is yung natawag natin lang. Okay. So, balik tayo. Sorry, nawala ako. Yung gagawin natin now is to derive yung normal stress wherein pwede natin sabihin na yung height na corresponding would be equal to the shear stress minus cohesion. Pero saan ba natin po pwede gamitin to? Ngayon, kung titingnan natin, meron tayong na buong equation para doon sa pagkuha ng sigma prime. So kung titignan natin yung sa sigma prime, na natin sabihin na yung H can also be equal to sigma prime tangent C prime. And then, kung ito ang susundin natin, meron tayong shear stress na equal to R cosine theta, R cosine phi prime, sorry, minus cohesion. Natin sabihin na yung normal stress is now equal to R cosine phi prime over tangent phi prime minus C prime over tangent phi prime. Ano ba yung 1 over tangent? Yung 1 over tangent ay cotangent, di ba? So, sigma prime is equal to R cosine phi prime times cotangent phi prime minus C prime cotangent phi prime. Ngayon, may mas madaling way para ma-solve yan. Ano yung mas madaling way? May mas madaling way para ma-solve yung figure natin is to determine kung ano ba yung pwede pa natin i-manipulate. So, kung titingnan nyo yung unang equation, medyo nakakalito siya. Pero, kung magre-refer tayo sa mga iba pang figures na pwede gamitin, mas madali ngayon yung pagsusolve natin. So, ano ba yung pwede natin tingnan ngayon dyan? Let's say, figures 1, 2, and 3. Okay, bakit tayo mag-drawing? So for both figures 1, 2, and 3, may mapapansin tayo dyan. Papansin nyo doon sa baba, meron tayong minor principal stress and meron tayong center ng circle. Paano muna ba natin kukuhanin yung value ng center? Yung center daw ay from origin hanggang doon sa center ng circle. So, from origin hanggang center ng circle, yung center, ang magiging value niya is, yun nandito, di ba? So, from sigma 3 to sigma 1, mayroon ka ng value ng center agad. Center natin is just equal to, meron tayong sigma prime 3 plus radius. Diba? Yun na ngayon yung center. Now, kung meron tayong center, pwede nating kuhanin na from figure 2. Sorry, iyan na natin to avoid nawala yung drawing. Anyway, yan. So, balik tayo. So, from the center, alam natin na mayroong value, pwede natin i-solve ngayon yung from figure 2, may makukuha tayong value na isa. Kung mapapansin nyo, doon sa triangle at figure 2, meron ka ring base, di ba? So from that base, pwede natin makuha yan. Yung base is just equal to R sine phi prime. Di ba? Kung makukuha natin yan, pwede na natin agad makuha yung normal stress. Normal stress now can be equal to the center minus yung base. Yun lang siya. Diba? Kung papansin nyo, yung center kasi may value na, and then kung babawas lang natin doon sa base na yun, ibig sabihin, yung normal stress is just equal to the center minus R sine phi prime. Yun siya. So, after that, para makuha mo na lang yung cohesion, if ever, yung cohesion lang naman is just equal to shear stress minus yung H earlier. So, shear stress minus H, yung H natin is just equal to the normal stress. Anong trigonometric property ulit? Tangent phi prime. So, sa mga values na to, iyan ang gamitin. Okay. So, punta tayo dun sa mga shear tests na pwedeng ginagamit. So, ngayon, meron tayong dalawang klaseng laboratory determinants. Ngayon, yung dalawang laboratory determinants, ang ano dyan is meron tayong tinatawag na direct shear test. Wherein sa direct shear test, ang kinoconsider natin is yung planar areas ng soil sample natin is subject to normal and shear stress. Ngayon, alam natin na by principle, ang shear stress ay nag-occur doon sa parallel area ng application of force. So, kung titingnan natin, ito yung soil specimen. So, from the soil specimen, meron tayong normal force na ina-exert from above. So, meaning to say, kung meron tayong normal force, ang force ay perpendicular doon sa area. Di ba? Ang contact area natin is, syempre, yung larger area. Kasi, syempre, kung laboratory apparatus to, naka 3D pa rin yan. So, if naka 3D yan, yung normal force would be exerted doon sa larger area instead na nandoon sa may smaller area na sa gilid. Diba? So, kapag normal force, ang pinag-exertan mo ng force or yung planar area mo is this one. Ngayon, paano naman kung shear stress ang pinag-uusapan natin? Kung shear stress ang pag-uusapan, ang shear force mo ay directed in relation doon sa hiwalay na plane nung larger side. So kung shear force sa pag-uusapan natin, ang area pa rin na pwede natin i-consider ay yung larger area doon sa plane or this plane in the middle. So, ano yung pwede natin i-denote? Pwede natin i-denote na yung area for both normal and shear force would remain the same. Now, kung direct shear test yan, alam natin by principle na yung normal stress is equal to the normal force over yung cross-sectional area. So normal force can be considered as P. Yung shear force can be denoted as V. At the same time, alam natin na yung shear stress failure can be equal to the shear force all over the area. So, ganyan lang siyang kadali. Ngayon, kung i-determine naman natin yung sa pag-plot ng graph, ang kino-consider natin is may series of points doon sa doon sa graph natin na ang pwedeng tingnan is may series of points pa rin. Pero syempre, kapag kumuha ka ng series of points, there will come a time na magiging in linear relationship siya. Since kukuha ka ng slope. Kung kukuha ka ng slope, di ba? Yun lang yun. Kukuha ka ng relationship between normal and shear. Now, kung kukuha ka ng relationship between normal and shear, ang slope daw can be equal to the rise over run, di ba? So, meaning to say, meron tayong shear stress second result minus first result ng shear stress all over normal stress. Let's say this is yung normal stress 2, shear stress 2. And then dito sa baba, yung normal stress 1, yung shear stress 1. Yeah. So, yan lang naman yung relationship niya. Ngayon, syempre, alam natin na yung angle ay yung angle of internal friction. Therefore, pwede natin sabihin na yung angle of internal friction can be equal to inverse tangent between the shear stress at failure all over the normal stress. So, yan ngayon yung angle. Ngayon, paano natin gagawin yan kung may problem na? Okay. So, sa first problem natin, meron tayong mga given na rectangular specimen, tapos may number of tests na ginawa for both normal and shear. So what we need to do is to determine the normal stresses and shear stresses and the angle of internal friction. So paano natin siya gagawin? So ang first muna nating step is to determine kung ano bang area yung dapat gamitin. So sa rectangular specimen daw, meron tayong 50 by 50 by 20. So kung 50 by 50 by 20 yan, pwede natin sabihin na yung area is equal to length by width by height yan. So meron tayong project natin. So meron tayong 50 by 50 by 20. So ang area natin na pupwede, since ang normal stress natin ay directed downward and then yung shear stress natin ay directed by side doon sa figure natin. Therefore, ang area natin in contact is equal to 50 by 50 mm or equal to 250 or 2,500 square millimeters. So if this is if yung normal force natin and yung shear force natin is in Newton, ang target natin for normal stress and shear stress at failure should be in terms of mega Pascal. So paano natin ngayon i-determine yan? Alam natin ulit na yung formula for normal and shear stress ay yung shear stress at failure daw can be equal to the shear force over area. And then yung normal stress rather, is equal to the normal force all over the cross-sectional area. Ngayon, yung sa test 1 natin, alam natin na yung normal force is equal to P over A. So, sa test 1 natin, ang normal stress is equal to 90 all over 2,500 or equal to 90 newtons divided by 2,500 is 0.036 megapascal. 0.036 megapascal or kung in kilopascal yan, 36. So, pakita na rin natin yung conversion para lang to give justice. So, 1 megapascal is 1,000 kilopascal lang naman. So, meron tayong 36 kilopascal all in all. Now, yung shear stress natin para doon sa sample 1, meron tayong shear stress of failure is equal to 54 all over 2,500. Yung shear stress natin is equal to 0.0216 megapascal or 21.6 kilopascal. So, napapansin kung paano yung flow, di ba? So, for all samples na yung gawin natin, normal stress is equal to 135 all over 2,500. So, meron tayo 0.054 megapascal or 54 kilopascal. Yung shear stress at failure natin is equal to 82.35 all over 2,500. So, equal na yun yan sa 0.03294 033 megapascal or 33 kilopascals. Ngayon, meron pa tayo, normal stress is equal to 315 all over 2,500 or equal to 0.126 megapascal or 126 kilopascals. Yung shear stress at failure natin now is equal to 189.5 all over 2,500 meron tayong 0.076 megapascals or 76 kilopascals. Lastly, yung normal stress natin is equal to 450 or over 2,500 is equal to 0.18 megapascals or 180 kilopascal. Shear stress at failure now is equal to 270.5 all over 2,500 are equal to 0.108 megapascals or 108 kilopascals. So, nakuha natin lahat ng normal and shear stress. So, ano na yung next natin gagawin? After determining the normal and shear stresses, kailangan nating tingnan ngayon yung angle of internal friction. So, paano natin hahanapin yung angle of internal friction? So, kung hahanapin natin yung angle of internal friction, hindi na natin kailangan yung area. Ang kailangan natin ay yung data natin. So, sa data natin, meron tayong natin. So, test. Meron tayong normal stress or yung x-axis, yung shear stress at failure or yung y-axis. So, test 1, 2, 3, and 4. Under test 1, kung megapascal ang titingnan natin, meron tayong, kilopascal rather. Sa test 1, meron tayong 36 para sa normal stress and shear stress na 21.6. Sa test number 2, meron tayong 54 na normal and 33 na shear stress. Sa test 3, meron tayong 126 na normal stress and 76 kilopascal na shear stress. Sa test 4, meron tayo 180 kilopascals para sa normal stress and shear stress na 108. Ngayon, kung ipa-plot natin yan sa isang graph, makukuha na rin natin kung ano ba yung dapat na angle of internal friction. So makikita natin dito kung paano ba nag-vary yung points, yung mga necessary points kung merong combination of both normal and shear. Sorry, bura-bura. Yan. Ngayon, para makita natin yan, ipa-plot natin siya isa-isa. So, normal stress natin ay 36. So, medyo malapit siya sa 40. And then, yung shear stress daw ay 21.6. So, relatively nandoon sa gitna. So, yung test 1 natin ay nandito. Test 1 natin ay 36 saka 21.6. Next, sa test 2 natin, ang normal stress natin ay 54. So medyo malapit siya dito sa natin, dito sa around a quarter of the figure. And then yung shear stress natin ay 33. So medyo nandito ka na malapit. 40. So itong second point natin, sorry, teka lang. Ayusin natin yung drawing to avoid confusion. So, point 1 uli ay 36 saka 21.6. Yung point 2 natin is 54 saka 32. Test 3 natin ay 126. Medyo malapit sa 120. And 76 na shear stress. So medyo malapit sa 80. Natin sabihin na nandito yung point. Test 3 is around 126 out of 86. And then yung last test natin, which is test 4. Test 4 is around 180, so nandito sa gitna yan. And then 108. 108 is siguro nandito sa midpoint. Test 4, yun na yun, yung 180. So 108. So kung pag-connect mo yung points na yan, hindi lang, kumbaga hindi siya agad mag-intersect. Pero ano ba yung ideal na pag-connectin para alam natin kung ano ba yung gagamitin for slope? Ang gagamitin natin is yung first point and then yung last point. Para malaman natin na yan ngayon, magkakaroon ng linear relationship. Okay? So from points 1 and 4, pwede natin makuha ngayon yung phi prime. Phi prime daw is inverse tangent ng shear stress all over the normal stress. Natin sabihin na this is inverse tangent ng anong shear stress na yun. Yung shear stress at 4 na 108 minus yung normal, yung shear stress na nasa point 1, which is 21.6. All over normal stress na 180 minus 36. Ang angle of internal friction natin now is equal to, so inverse tangent na 108 minus 21.6 all over 180 minus 36. Inverse tangent, meron tayong angle of internal friction na equal to 30.964 degrees. Yan ngayon yung angle of internal friction. Okay. So yung direct shear test, ang kailangan natin na final answers are this, yung normal and shear stress sa series of tests natin. And yung angle of internal friction natin. Okay, so ganun lang kasimple yung normal and shear stress. So ang final answer lang naman din is yung table for both normal and shear stress and yung angle of internal friction na makukuha natin from the first and last point. Okay, so yung questions doon sa natin, sa messenger natin or doon sa Google Classroom natin. Okay, so yung second part ng lecture ay i-upload ko rin in a while.